guys, Trilogy here. Today we're going to be doing another video. We're going to be talking about a movie that I saw on Netflix, kind of an older movie. It actually came out in 2019, but this movie was just mind-blowing to me. And I like to talk about movies, so here I am. We're going to be doing basically a review type, ending explain type video. And this is for Under the Shadow of the Moon, which is going to be a sci-fi mystery movie. And I did not know this movie was sci-fi when I clicked on it. I was just hanging out with a friend and they were like, they like mystery movies. I'm not a big mystery fan myself, but this type of mystery I was into. And that's probably just because it was sci-fi. And if you've been on my channel for a while, you know I love time travel. I love time travel, any time travel video game, time travel movies, time travel TV shows, anything time travel, I'm a fan, especially if they don't ruin it. Because time travel is really hard to write. You'll run into paradoxes all the time. So it's just like, you know. But yeah, Under the Shadow of the Moon came out in 2019. It's a Netflix movie. It has basically a solo character. His name's Tommy. He's a detective. The movie starts actually, let's start at the beginning. The beginning of the movie, which is the end of the movie really, I guess. It starts in 2024, Philadelphia. The world's on fire, everything's burning. We see this weird American type flag, but it only has 5 stars, and then it has like a blue line on one of the red lines, like the back the blue police flags or whatever. But it's not black and blue, it's red, white, and blue, but it's whatever. And then we flash back all the way back to the 1980s. I believe it's 1989, where our main character, Tommy, is the detective. He's baking breakfast for his pregnant wife. He wants to spend the night with her, but he gets a call that he's needed for a case. And this is going to be the first time that we see that Tommy is a man who puts his job kind of in front of his wife and his family. It's a recurring theme throughout the movie, and it's basically like he could have stayed home. His wife's going to have a baby any day now. But I guess it wasn't optional. I mean, if your job calls, your job calls. But sometimes you're like, hey, I can't make it in. I don't feel good, or my wife's about to have a baby, or I have to go to a doctor's appointment. Like, but then again, his wife is supposed to bust any day. So like, can he stay home every day? So, but I feel like this is still part of the plot that they're doing. And foreshadow, and then meta-wise, we do know that she does have the baby that night. But to be fair, on Tommy's end, there's no way he could have known that the baby was going to come out today, because it was supposed to be any day. But it does kind of look bad because he was on the job and his wife was in labor and he wasn't there. But anyways, we get to see 3 different people, and basically blood starts coming out of their nose and their eyes and then their ears, and it's just like gross. And they're unrelated, so we have like a chef at like a small American type diner type thing, and then we have a bus driver, and then we have a pianist, whatever. He and they all just die, and it's just graphic, and I was like, I'm not a big fan of gore, but it wasn't really gory, it was just blood, so, and brain matter. But I pushed through because I'm a G like that, you know what I'm saying? But anyways, yeah, this movie picks off with that. And then based off of what one woman said before she died, she was like, yeah, she looked like she didn't belong in this neighborhood. And then Tommy's like, what does that mean? And he was like, she was black. And I was like, dang, bro. And because America's racist, we see them pick up basically every black woman in Philadelphia looking for this murderer, like put them all in the system, lock them all up, take pictures of all of them. We don't care. It was a black woman, and we didn't get any other details besides that. So we're just gonna arrest every black woman we see. Despite that, that's probably my only gripe with the movie. It's not my only gripe, but it's a gripe that I have with this movie. But I mean, I guess it's historically accurate. The world is very racist back then, but it's just like, I'm here for a time travel movie. I'm not here for historical accuracies. Anyways, we meet his partner, Maddox. He's a black guy, and I called it. Black side characters are always going to die. To be fair, he didn't die when I thought he was going to die. I thought he was going to get infected and we were going to get to see him bleed out and everything like that. Instead, he got his leg broken, and that kind of threw off my expectations. And I was like, oh, I guess he's not going to die. He's just going to get the crap beat out of him and get his legs beat. So that's what happened. He did get his, and then they do find the hooded girl. And then it's crazy because it's just like, it's funny because the white cop, Tommy, was like, hey, that guy in the hoodie looks kind of familiar. He looks suspicious. And Maddox was like, whoa, calm down, man. And then the guy, it pulls the hood down and it's just an old guy and we're looking for a black woman. But at that moment, the black woman in the hoodie does walk right by them and she has a bandaged hand and it's bleeding and it's just like, she looks suspicious. Why is your hand bleeding? Why are you walking that way? And then Tommy just decides to pursue her. So they're in an alley, right? So she runs back that way and Tommy just decides to reverse. And for some reason, this woman is able to outrun a car. Like, I know they're going backwards, so they're not going as fast as they could because he doesn't want to crash into anything. But sheesh, she's fast. Anyways, we have a subway fight. Tommy gets beat the hell out of. He gets his leg broken. Not Tommy, Maddox. I'm sorry. Tommy and the woman do fight. She says some weird stuff like, congratulations on your daughter. I'm sorry about your partner. And then she's about to get away, and then she's like, is this where it happens? And then Tommy pulls out a taser, and he tases her, and she falls into an incoming train, and she dies. Crazy, right? Anyways, after she dies, the murders stop. We get another flash forward. We go into the future 9 years. This time when we meet her, we actually meet a scientist, this Indian guy, and he was like, yeah, when the moon aligns and then it makes a connection to somewhere else, and he's like, but Tommy and Maddox don't pay him any mind because they think he's crazy. But that said, with this jump, we do see basically it's not looking too good for my man Tommy. Like, I mean, he got promoted, so he's a detective now, like he wanted to be. Maddox is still his partner, but Maddox now has a limp. Anyways, they do some research, and then they find out that the girl, whenever she died, she had some keys on her, but they could never figure out what they were. We find out the keys are actually to a plane, but that plane had just come out last year. So how did she have those keys 9 years ago when the plane just came out this year? So it's just like, what's going on around here? Like, what's going on? I don't know. So like, at that point, I was like, is there time travel in this movie? Because, like I said, when I put this movie on, I thought it was just going to be a regular murder mystery. I didn't know anything about time jumps. I didn't know anything about that. I just thought it was going to be a regular murderer. And I was like, wait a second. Is there time travel here? And then we look at some security surveillance because the killings start happening because it's 9 years later. And we see the girl again. And they were like, it must be a copycat. And I was like, yo, this is time travel. She's time traveling. And my friend was like, how do you know that? And I'm like, I watched a lot of time travel. And I was just like, I recognize time travel. But the geeky answer is, I love time travel. I'm the biggest geek on time travel. Like, that's the geekiest. And then, well, actually, this is part of a spoiler. Let me get back farther into the movie. Anyways, we found her at an airplane hangar. She's there to kill some people. She kills them. We track her down to where the airplane is at. We get a cool little scene where he leaves a note. He's like, scratch your head if someone else is here. And he scratches his head. And I always think stuff like that is cool. Anyways, we get into a fight. Before he gets tied up, Tommy calls his partner Maddox. Maddox shows up. He accidentally gets shot in the face with a shotgun by the mysterious hoodie woman. And at this point, it's just all clicking for me because their first altercation, she says sorry about your partner. We're assuming that she's saying sorry about your partner because she broke his leg. Really, she's saying sorry about your partner because she killed him. It just hadn't happened. And at this point, I used to be a huge Doctor Who fan, and there's a plot line with the Doctor, which is the main character, and a woman he loves named River Song. For some reason, throughout time, they're meeting opposite ways. So towards the end of her life, she meets him towards the beginning of their basically interaction. So at this point, she knows almost everything about him. He knows almost nothing about her. And throughout time, they meet more and more, and the Doctor is getting older, but River Song is getting younger. And that knowledge was just like, that's what they're doing in this movie. So throughout time, every time they meet, Tommy, our main character, is getting older, but she's getting younger. So the things that she's saying have already happened before. So it's crazy. It's crazy. Anyway, she crashes the plane. She kicks him out after she abducts him, basically, because she beat the hell out of him and knocked him unconscious. They fly away. She kicks him out the plane. Basically, that's the end of that plot point. We get another plot point into the future. We get another time skip. So the first one was in the 80s. Next one was in the 90s. I think the next one was 2005. So we're a little more modern. And my man Tommy is not on the police force no more. He doesn't have custody of his daughter anymore. She's getting raised by her uncle, who's played by that guy from Dexter, the main character Dexter, which I did think he looked familiar. I thought he was Dexter, but I was just like, I don't know. It doesn't look like Dexter. But it's Dexter. It was definitely him. But as far as that goes, what's next? He's in the car. He talks to his daughter. She talks about her boyfriend, which is important. And for some reason, Tommy just doesn't remember him at all because, you know, at this point, he's an obsessed man who has basically neglected his family over an obsession over a woman who has killed maybe like 6 people 18 years ago, 9 years ago. Like, come on now. But he says, once I crack this code, things will go back to normal. You know, we'll be a family again. And she's like, you can't just do that. But the boyfriend is pretty important, and he gets her a birthday gift, which is a little charm for her bracelet, which I guess I've neglected to mention. In the first scene, we do see she has a little bracelet. Every year for her birthday, they add a charm to it. So yeah, that's pretty much it. What happens in this one? Basically, he starts to figure some stuff out. Like, he gets some information. He finds out that the people who have been dying are all part of this mailing list for the Real America movement or something like that. Basically, they're like these modern patriots who want to take the country back from the government and stuff like that. And at this point, I'm just like, oh. Because at the beginning of the movie, there's like a war or something going on. So I'm thinking these nobodies really started a war and they were winning. So basically they send the other girl back in time to stop everything from happening. And I'm talking to my friend about this and they're like, where are you getting this from? It's just not making sense to me. It's just not making sense to me. And I'm like, well, I guess I can't really explain it to you any more elementary than that. We'll just have to watch. But yeah, basically we track her down. And you know how her hand's been bandaged the last 2 times we see her. This time my boy Tommy, bink, shot her right in the hand. And I'm just like, oh! Not only is she traveling back in time, everything is happening for her subsequently, chronologically. Back to back. It's happening back to back. So this day, and then the next time we see her, and then the next time we see her are all happening right back to back to back. Because like, whenever they did her autopsy, she had been shot, but Tommy had said he never shot her. But every time we see her, her hand is bandaged. It's because at this point right here, he shot her. Oh, and in the second scene, she's like, if you were a better shot, I would be dead. But he never shot her. He hadn't shot her yet. But basically, she gets away again because that's kind of her thing. She gets away every time. But we track her down all the way to where her plane crashed before. And she's in like this pod type thing that fills up with water, vanishes. It's a time machine. Confirmed it's a time machine. As far as that goes, it's a time machine. It's cool. It's confirmed. And that man just lives out his car there now. He just stakes out that area. So when the next time we see him, he's older. And he's just staking out the time machine. And then she finally gets there. And basically he's waiting for her. But he does talk to the Indian guy who's like, hey, you have to let this happen. You have to let this happen because it's important. She's using my technology. She's going to stop a war in the future. So you have to let this happen. But Tommy just doesn't want to hear none of that. We have to kill her because if we kill her, then she can't kill those people. And then I never become an obsessed fanatic. And then I get my life back. So we don't know the laws of time travel, if it's a new timeline time travel or if it's erasure timeline time travel. Because as far as that goes, there's different types of time travel. But yeah, he beats that guy up. He gets away. He camps it out, and she finally reveals that, hey, I am your granddaughter. He's like, what? My granddaughter? I killed you. And she's like, well, it's not too much we can do about that. Time travel is a one-way trip. So in their type of time travel, they can only go back in time, but they can't go forward in time. So once she goes back, she goes back, she goes back. So at the beginning of the movie, when she said, is this it? It's like, is this where you kill me? Is this where I die? And it is where she kills him and it is where she dies. But her sacrifice does end up changing the timeline finally, Tommy makes it to the hospital because his daughter's pregnant, by the way. She has the baby. And this is like the first time he chooses his family over his obsession. But to be fair, the obsession is kind of over. He got closure over it. He's not going to keep trying to kill his granddaughter. My confusion is the granddaughter still going to die? That's what I want to know. Or because the timeline has been fixed, like the bad timeline or whatever has been fixed, do they still need to do that? But then at the time, if she doesn't do it, there's no way to fix the timeline. So it's like a paradox. So now that the timeline has been fixed where there's no war, she doesn't need to go back in time. But if she doesn't go back in time, the people who start the war are still alive. So I'm just like, she has to go back in time and she has to die. Otherwise, the timeline is going to go to crazy. Then again, at that same time, this must be a new timeline because otherwise we'd be stuck in a loop. So I guess we're in a new timeline. Everything's happy. It's just a cool little ending. R.I.P. Maddox. But yeah, I think Tommy was, I mean, from her, if we had put it from the perspective of Raya, which is the black woman, by the way, his daughter is dating a black man. So the whole time they are like, you wouldn't expect this because she's black. They can't be related. My friend was like, she must be his daughter. I mean, I'm like, no, his daughter is white. So, but it turns out his daughter is dating a black man, and that was his granddaughter. So my friend was really close as far as that goes. I didn't see it. The race was blinding me. I was blinded by the race. It's kind of like in Spider-Man Homecoming where he's dating Liz, who's black, and the Vulture, the main bad guy, is white. And we get to the house, and the Vulture is her dad. And it's just like, what? The Vulture is white. The Vulture is white, but it's just such a crazy plot twist that no one expects. And I really like this movie, Under the Shadow of the Moon. Like I said, I really don't have too many complaints. And this is an older movie, so I really don't expect this video to get too many views. But I just wanted to put the content out. I'd probably give this movie maybe like an 8.5 out of 10. I think this was a pretty good movie. Wasn't perfect. I don't think it was a kind of long, but it didn't feel too long. Like they could have trimmed maybe 10 minutes out of it. But overall, I like this movie, Under the Shadow of the Moon. It's on Netflix. If you like sci-fi, you should check this out. If you like mysteries, you should check this out. And if you like sci-fi mystery, you should subscribe to Trilogy Effect and check out more videos like this. Comment down below, subscribe. I don't do sponsorships or ads on my channel, but I do have a Patreon. If you want to support the channel, really want to support the channel, go ahead and subscribe. Add me on Patreon. Anything you can do would help the channel. Anyways, goodbye. Thank you for watching the video. Peace.